Well, half the world's out to get us in the U.S., China. Russia, not so much. We actually had a lot of businesses in Russia, and they were doing quite well. Um, there's a faction in the U.S., probably DARPA, DARPA being one of them, poisoning us. You know, air, water, food, high frequency microwaves. Um, there's a division going on in the U.S. also between every race against every other race, and now they want to discredit white people. Um, I don't know. I'm going to post whatever I can about the ignorance of any race that wants to be stupid. And these videos speak for themselves. I don't spend a lot of time speaking. And I'm also inserting comedy, as you know, just to lighten up the mood. And usually I make a funny video before I make a serious video, and that's because it's hard to take. Anyway, people in the world and people in the U.S., half of them are brainwashed, and we got a lot of enemies. The example of all this is what's taking place in England and Europe right now. But there's also some of the countries over there. They're wise enough to not let it happen to their countries. And we should embrace that and take that as an example. Anyway, on with the show.
Senator, your take on this, I mean, I'm going to say this again. I said it last night, but happy Trump is best Trump. And he's having a great time. He doesn't care about these stupid polls. He's fighting for the country. And man, this was just one-liner after the next in 90 minutes.
Laura, he was up there for 90 minutes. I was just thinking to myself, Joe Biden couldn't stand there for 90 seconds. You know, I mean, what a contrast to see a real leader. And the other thing that struck me was, for the first time in 30 years, America finally has a president who is for the working people of this nation. And he is delivering a Republican Party that is finally for the working people of this nation. Joe Biden beat them down. He sold them out. He suppressed their wages. He sent our jobs to China. He put men into girls' sports. He did everything he could to destroy the working class of this country. That's the backbone of this country. And Trump is rebuilding it. He's got the vision for it. And look at the results. It's been astounding.
Just some advice, because you come under fire a lot. Our moms are standing for things that often the media attacks them on. We'd love to get some advice from you about running for office.
Yeah, so I would say don't do it.
No, run for office. We want you to run for office.
I do say this, though. It is nastier to run as a Republican. It is. Now, I'm the ultimate, I mean, they suffer from a thing called TDS. Do you know what that is?
Yes.
TDS, it's a horrible, horrible terminal disease. It destroys the mind. It destroys the mind before the body, but the body eventually goes. TDS is Trump derangement syndrome. They have it at levels. They can't even stand their life. They can't stand anything. And, part of the reason is I won an election which everybody said couldn't be won.
A scarecrow walked into a store looking for a brain. He sees 3 brains on display. One is a libertarian brain priced at $25. The second is a Republican brain priced at $100. And the third is a Democratic brain that is priced at $1 million. So the man asks the clerk, why does the Democratic brain cost so much more than the other two? The clerk replies, well, sir, that brain has never been used.
It looks like the tariffs don't work crowd owes President Trump a big apology. Tariff revenue just smashed records, $15.9 billion collected so far this month alone. The White House says it's close to a trade deal, but in the meantime, the money is starting to roll in.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is having a meltdown over the song AOC by the band Classic Vinyl. The song points out her complete lack of intelligence, and she doesn't know what to do, since the song is on streaming services and she can't take it down. Here's the song.
We don't care that you look like a donkey. Everyone knows you're slow, you talk kinda wonky. You're kinda lost, 'cause you were born that way. We understand thinking is not your forte. You've never been accused of being smart. AOC. You graduated last from Head Start. It's crystal clear you're not the sharpest tool. You're one floaty shore.
On butt plugs. And I said that I think that in high school groups where unfortunately we know that students are having sex, and that I think that safe sex is always important, safe sex practices are always important, and that is a type of, that's queer sex, so that's not heteronormative sex, and then you called it disgusting. So you told me that the sex that my counterparts have is disgusting, and I don't see how that is not openly homophobic.
The reality is it's not openly homophobic, because that means that you think...
So call queer sex disgusting?
That
you don't think that's homophobic?
That means that you think that only homosexual couples use butt plugs.
No, they absolutely don't.
Heterosexual couples use butt plugs as well.
So do you think that just butt plugs are disgusting?
And so I'm saying that teaching children, minors, about this is disgusting.
Right, so I guess that comes into a abstinence-only education versus safe-sex education.
No, it's not abstinence only. It's not safe sex. At the end of the day, a butt plug is not going to create a child. It's not going to have an issue on a person that relates to them catching an STD, unless the actual butt plug is not properly sanitized.
Exactly, and I think that's what that book was detailing, is how to safely use those instruments.
We don't need to educate children on how to use butt plugs. Children, if you're an adult and that is what you want to do, if that's what stimulates you and gets you off, have at it.
6 time.
Are you a parent?
I'm not a parent.
Oh, so you're not a parent. Okay. And you are a parent?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
What the hell is even that?
And so, as a father, 2 boys and a girl, I don't want anyone teaching my child how to use sex toys of any kind.
Good evening, everybody. This is Archie Bunker of 704 Hauser Street, veteran of the big war, speaking on behalf of Guns for Everybody. Now, question. What was the first thing that the communists done when they took over in Russia? Answer, gun control. And there's a lot of people in this country who want to do the same thing to us here in a kind of conspiracy, see. Now, I want to talk about another thing that's on everybody's mind today, and that's your stick-ups and your skyjackets. Which, if that was up to me, I could end the skyjackets tomorrow.
You could?
All you got to do is arm all your passengers. And then he ain't got no more superiority there. He ain't going to dare to pull out no rod. And then your airlines, then they wouldn't have to search the passengers on the ground no more. They just pass out the pistols at the beginning of the trip, and they pick them up again at the end. Case closed.
So this just happened, and I bet nobody's even heard about it. After 7 years of legal action against the US EPA over the posed risks of fluoride in the water and its effect on brain and development, the United States District Court has just ruled on behalf of the Fluoride Action Network. This is incredible news and one that did not come easy. All of the hard work and the determination that's been put into this year after year after year has finally come to an end. A U.S. federal court has now deemed fluoridation an unreasonable risk to the health of children, and the EPA will now be forced to regulate it as such. Fluoride and its negative effects on the brain are nothing new. A study in JAMA in 2019 showed the direct relationship between a pregnant mother who was exposed to higher levels of fluoride and the outcome for her children at age 3 and 4, showing lower IQ levels. Fluoride has also been linked to skeletal fluorosis, dental fluorosis, thyroid issues, developmental delays, cognitive impairments, and has even been linked to certain bone cancers. This is a huge leap for us and hopefully one that'll give a lot more parents the confidence to cut out the fluoride toothpaste and say no to fluoride in dental offices. But for all previous exposure and exposure that may still be out of our control until they're able to get this regulated everywhere, the zeolite mineral binds to fluoride and helps to remove it from the body. Certain studies have even shown that it can help remove fluoride from a calcified pineal gland as well.
Islam is the religion of rape, incest, and pedophilia, where they bow down to a stupid rock and a false prophet. I will never let Sharia law protect the Christian nature.
Go back in your cage,
Go
dog.
back to your Muslim nation.
Go bark somewhere else. Hey, go bark somewhere else.
Try something, vos. Ven, por acá a la izquierda, a la izquierda. A la izquierda, vamos para acá. We're rolling.
What happened to a gay couple in Palestine, sir?
What?
What would happen to a gay couple in Gaza?
Executed according to Islamic law. Islam doesn't endorse gayism. Islam doesn't endorse homosexuality.
Do you think that's good, sir? Do you think it's good for gays?
Islam doesn't approve of being gay.
I see. Okay, so would you like to see Sharia law in Canada replace Canadian law?
At some point it will. You know, because we have families, we are making babies. You're not. Your population is going down the slump. That's right? And by 2060, according to Pew Research Institute, your research, by 2060, Muslims will be the biggest religious group the world over. What are you going to do then? Actually, go oppose Sharia is even then?
Well, you know what? I'm very appreciative of the honesty. We don't usually get that. So you do support Sharia.
Just like you had a Western majority nation in a land of Native Americans, one day we can have a Muslim majority nation here in Canada.
We've got to start shutting them down. We cannot allow them to come into our country and proselytize in their mosque, talking about overthrowing our government, our constitutional democracy, saying they want to replace it with Sharia, and then we say, well, that's okay, that's freedom of speech, that's freedom of religion. That's not, it's sedition. So we've got to understand that this battlefield is just not overseas. This battlefield is here.
That's really the essence of dismantling the system of injustice is to replace it with the people who represent the Prophet ﷺ.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands us to change and replace this system. Islam is jihad.
When it comes to spreading Islam on a state level, on a societal level, that method prescribed is jihad. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prescribed that the ones who don't accept the ruling of Islam, they must be fought. This is simply the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Using a protest to overthrow a non-Muslim government in a non-Muslim country.
For us Muslims living in the West, our jihad is to establish the deen of Allah through all means necessary.
Hamas has the largest infrastructure of all terrorist organizations on American soil today.
They are not trying to be part of the American way of life. They are not trying to be part of our culture. They are here with an agenda to make Islam the law of the land.
Just to show where our loyalty belongs to. You see this flag here? It's going to go on the floor. And to us, our loyalty does not belong to this flag. Our loyalty belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Takbir! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!
It's not illegal, nor should it be illegal to say death to America. It's protected speech. And in fact, Islamic groups understand that it is protected speech.
Don't be afraid to speak out against injustice in this country. One of the loopholes of this government is they allow the freedom of expression.
But it doesn't immunize those groups from being accountable for the radical views that they espouse.
Of course, not all Muslims are like that. But we've been infiltrated with this kind of agenda. And America has to wake up because we are strangling ourselves with our political correctness.
I am holding in my hand the Muslim Brotherhood plan for the destruction of the United States, written 5/22/1991. This plan was presented as evidence in the Holy Land Foundation trial, the largest terrorism trial ever in the history of the United States, where our government handed down 108 guilty verdicts for Muslim Americans and Muslim American organizations raising money to support terrorist organizations in the Middle East to the tune of millions. And I'm just going to read you a paragraph of this plan, so it'll give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Understanding the role of the Muslim Brother in North America. The process of settlement is a civilization jihadist process with all the word means. The Ikhwan, which is the Arabic word for brothers, must understand that their work in America is a kind of grand jihad in eliminating and destroying the Western civilization from within and sabotaging its miserable house by their hands and the hands of the believers so that it is eliminated and Allah's religion is made victorious over all other religions. Is this clear? But the most important page of this document is the last page. Because in the last page, they list 29 front Islamic organizations set up in the United States with the specific goal of sabotaging America from within and destroying
Breaking news! President Trump calls for an investigation to find out who in the government has been receiving kickbacks from USAID. And the fine employees at Doge have stated congressional audits shows 3 Democrat senators have gained more than $20 million in net worth, each with no plausible explanation. Which means that when asked, they have no idea how they got that money in their bank accounts. They said, and I quote, "Their wealth just appeared." And because of that, the files have been turned over to Pam Bondi at the Justice Department. Wealth just appeared, huh? You mean from USAID, right? So let me know what you think about this entire situation. if found guilty on taking taxpayer money to make their own pockets fatter? What kind of consequences do you think any of these people should get? Let me know in the comments what we should do to those who steal from the American citizens.
Knows who Jasmine Crockett is right about now. And, well, let's just say she's got the attention of Doge after all the crap she's been talking about Elon. Elon posted on X the other day, well, Jasmine, I see that you make $174,000 a year, but in the 18 months that you've been in the House of Representatives, you have purchased a $5 million house in Texas. You have a $2.5 million lake house and another house you bought for $1.5 million. So, Elon and the United States government, along with so many more citizens, would love to know, Jasmine, how did you buy all that?
I mean, like, I don't know what you have to hide, because we lying, according to y'all. We lying. So prove us to be liars. I will sit here and I will be the first one to say, I apologize. So let's go ahead and do it. Will you do that?
I find it rich that the other side of the aisle is suddenly concerned about corruption and ethics. Whenever President Biden just gave his son a 10-year blanket pardon for foreign influence peddling and whatever else he was doing while high on whatever drugs with whatever prostitutes. I also find it rich that all of a sudden the other side has some problem with successful businessmen being involved in politics whenever you guys are the party of George Soros, of Bill and Melinda Gates, of Sheryl Sandberg, of Mackenzie Bezos, of Taylor Swift, of so many other billionaires across the country, as well as every woke, weird pervert in Hollywood. I find this incredibly disingenuous. I think the reality is that the Republican Party under President Trump has a very clear mandate from voters, and you guys don't like it because voters rejected everything you stand for and every policy that you've shoved down the American people's throats over the past 4 years, whether it's open borders, a failing economy, raging inflation, this weird woke stuff that you guys have been shoving down our children's throats, and the voters rejected you and they welcomed our party. So with that, I yield my time, but I find this conversation incredibly rich from the other side.
It is not a criminal violation to enter the country illegally. It's not a criminal. It's a crime. It's not a crime.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
This Chinese immigrant gave her Democrat opponent a 30-second lesson on immigration.
Well, I'm a legal immigrant. I came here right away. It took me 6.5 years to become citizen. My brother waited in China for 13 years, come here. It is a slap in the face to all the legal immigrants who are still waiting in line all over the world with American sponsors. Some of them have been waiting for over 10 years. What kind of message do we want to send to the world? If you follow the law, we're going to punish you. And if you come here illegally, we'll give you quick pass to citizenship. I support deport all the illegal aliens who committed crime immediately.
This Chinese immigrant gave her Democrat opponent a 30-second lesson on immigration. Warned the world that there is an experimental drug called remdesivir that will be responsible for their death. Yeah, I explained the entire way in which everyone with COVID-19 being diagnosed in the hospital, how they died between day 1 and day 9. Everybody died on day 9 of a 10-day treatment with remdesivir. Yeah, they called it an antiviral drug. Dr. Anthony Fauci claimed in May of 2020 it was found safe and effective in a drug trial in Africa a year earlier in 2019. And he hyperlinked the study in his memo to all hospitals. I happen to be retired. I opened the link to read the study about this drug I'd never heard of, and imagine my shock that in that trial in Africa a year before COVID, it killed 53% of all people they gave it to. And the safety board for the trial had suspended the use of remdesivir in that trial at month 6 and notified the funders that this drug is too deadly and too toxic. We're not using it anymore against Ebola patients. Guess who I discovered in that research study was the funder of that Ebola trial in Africa in 2019.
Oh.
Dr. Anthony Fauci and his department at the NIH.
Ah.
So he lied to the entire Congress, lied to the entire American people, and told you that the drug was found safe and effective against Ebola, when in fact the independent safety board deemed it too deadly, too toxic, and had pulled it from the trial. America should be furious.
Something is very wrong here. I just find it interesting that if you kill a preborn sea turtle, you are subject to up to a $100,000 fine and a year in jail. If you kill a preborn eagle, you are subject to up to a $250,000 fine and 2 years in prison. If you kill a preborn human, it's called a choice or a right, and there is no penalty. Something is very wrong here.
Why are you always on about women, Stan? I want to be one. What? I want to be a woman. From now on, I want you all to call me Loretta. What? It's my right as a man.
Well, why do you want to be Loretta, Stan?
I want to have babies. You want to have babies? It's every man's right to have babies if he wants them. But you can't have babies. Don't you oppress me. I'm not oppressing you, Stan. You haven't got a womb. Where's the fetus going to gestate? You're going to keep it in a box?
Here, I've got an idea. Suppose you agree that he can't actually have babies, not having a womb, which is nobody's fault, not even the Romans, but that he can have the right to have babies.
Good idea, Judith. We shall fight the oppressors for your right to have babies, brother. Sister, sorry. What's the point? What? What's the point of fighting for his right to have babies when he can't have babies? It is symbolic of our struggle against oppression. Symbolic of his struggle against reality.
Yes, you did touch his food. You touched his food. Were you playing in Jude's food? What are you doing? What did I do?
I'm gonna turn the other watch. Do you understand me? Do you understand me? That's not funny. Mom, that's not really funny.
No! If you don't stop,
Me?
I
didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. Is it Dolphin? Don't point your finger at me. Hi. Shh.